Hey guys, and welcome back to Pixel Cherry Ninja's channel. It's the weekend, and guess what guys, it's time for that weekly news roundup. And guys, it's a big week this week, especially regarding next generation of FPGA gaming, a potential successor to the MiSTer FPGA. As well as that, we've got all the regular stuff happening in the news. So guys, before we go further in, if you're not subscribed to the channel, then a subscription and a like is super duper appreciated. If you wish to support the channel further, I do have a Patreon set up. As well as that, don't forget to check out the sponsor of the weekly news show, MiSTer Add-ons, an absolutely awesome family run business. And finally guys, check out Free Play City, London's best arcade. Okay, so let's start with this. There's a lot of big news this week. This is one of the biggest stories as well. So the DE25 Nano Development and Education Board, guess what? The price has been revealed. So a few months back when the DE25 Standard Edition was revealed, the price was around $600, $586 if I remember correctly. Now that isn't a viable option for something that you want to use for gaming. We want it to be cheap. Yes, we want cheap stuff. So the Nano version is $248 and it's available to buy now on Jurassic's website, with the delivery window of October-November, so within 1 or 2 months. Now this is only $23 more than the DE10 Nano, which is the heart and soul of the MiSTer FPGA project. This only has 28,000 more logic elements, so 25% more, $23 more, but it does have onboard SD RAM. It uses DDR4 memory instead of 3. Unfortunately, it doesn't output like 4K, so you're limited to like 1080p, but it does bring a lot of improvements. This could potentially let developers like Robert Pate finish the Nintendo 64 core on here. Even though I love the N64 core, the games I want to play on there work perfect for me. As well as that, improvements to the AO486 core, you could potentially get newer arcade games, but in general there could be improvements coming. So not exactly a MiSTer 2, maybe a MiSTer 1.25 or 1.5, or just a MiSTer Pro model, the way we have a PlayStation 4 Pro and a PlayStation 5 normal, PlayStation 5 Pro, etc, etc. So this is really interesting, but I have to say guys, this is kind of looking interesting for the fact that there's very positive chatter about this over in the community, and it looks like a strong contender for something that will get support. Don't quote me on that, it may not get support, maybe something else will be the next gen or the step up, the Pro model, but so far this has been well received in the community. I know there's more powerful projects being worked on, but hey, this is one that potentially Sorg may get on board with, and if he does, it will be a contender for like at least a few years of continuation and pushing the boundaries of the project. So keep an eye on the space, keep an eye on the channel. I'll try and keep you guys posted, keep an eye on Metal Game Solid as well, because usually before videos are done, articles are easier to write and we'll pump it out on there. So after chatter the DE25, so here's a post on the MiSTer FPGA forum from the guys behind the MiSTer MultiSystem. So Herbert, the company behind it, they have put this post out there where they're talking about, look, hello everyone, things are really heating up in the FPGA gaming world, exciting times, but things take time, especially for FPGA platforms. So I wanted to jot down a few notes here and see where things go towards any next gen FPGA stuff. We have a lot of design ideas, prototypes, and both design resources available, along with a desire to make FPGA gaming platforms. Seriously, what do you want to see next? That's an open question, please let me know. An example, here is a issue 1 MiSTer MultiSystem modular prototype based on a large Xilinx FPGA we did last year. So it looks like the Herbert guys who have done the MiSTer MultiSystem 1, now they've got the MiSTer MultiSystem 2, which uses an alternative DE10 Nano board. It's very good. People have liked it. It's doing really well. Not quite as cheap as the MiSTer Pi and the QM Tech stuff, but hey, it's after that, it's the next cheapest one before you go over to original boards. And I kind of talk about like where 18 months ago they made something with potential for 4K video, but they had some issues with with that project. So they're kind of asking here, what would you like to see moving forward? Because there are a lot of different systems coming out and the market might become saturated. There might be too many out there, and guys, when you've got too many different projects happening out there, not all of them are going to succeed. And as well as posting this over here, they posted stuff over on a MiSTer FPGA Discord, where naturally on Discord a lot more chatter happens than on forums, and they were kind of saying that they're quite happy to work together with people. They don't want to work on competing projects. They would rather unanimously agree on a particular FPGA board that's going to be the next community driven project, and they can kind of use that to create a Herbert Herber product, and they can get that on the market line, but they are willing to help with the research and development and getting it up and running. So you can open source project and you can kind of have a company involvement in there. So it's very, very interesting. Herber are definitely looking toward making a next generation FPGA, so it'll be interesting to see what these guys come out with. I mean, I do like the MiSTer MultiSystem 2. I think it's a good device. I don't have one myself, but everything that I've heard about it, including a recent Reddit post, only sings positive praise about it. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens, whether these guys collaborate with others and they kind of come together on a framework, whether they decide to go into a different direction and implement their own framework, which can then port over MiSTer cores. I mean, it's very, very wide open at the moment. Currently, you could even say the Wild West of the next generation of FPGA gaming. A lot of stuff is happening, and it's very, very interesting, especially as someone that covers the news on this. With everything that's happening at the moment, it's keeping me real busy. So let's see what Herber kind of bring when it comes to the next gen of FPGA gaming. And with the DE25 Nano price being revealed, everyone's talking about the potential of a next generation FPGA gaming console. And the retro remake team that have brought us the excellent MiSTer Pi and are bringing us the SuperStationOne, as well as like plenty other gadgets out there, are no exception to this. So what was really funny, over on the MiSTer FPGA Discord server, Boot Selector said to Takiudon by linking a post or a message talking about the price of the DE25 Nano being $248, saying Taki Udon reverse engineered this and clone board when, and Taki responds to that, there's no reason. MiSTer Pi 2 has 400k logic elements and it's only a little more than this. So a little bit of news here. So whenever we get a MiSTer Pi 2, a follow-up board to the MiSTer Pi, whether that's, I don't know what it's going to be running on, whether it's going to be like a newer MiSTer, whether it's going to be the MiSTer that we have now, but running, or the capability to run different cores. Not exactly sure how it's going to run. That's all up in the air at the moment. Let's see what the future brings us. But however, the FPGA, the target FPGA that Takiudon has in mind, I remember him talking about the Agilex range of FPGA boards, is going to have 400k logic elements. Now, if we're talking raw logic elements, the DE25 Nano has 138,000. So we're talking like almost 3 times the amount with 400k. Obviously, there's going to be other features in there as well. So that sounds really, really exciting. This truly is like, I feel like there's a next gen gold rush on, and everyone's kind of talking about what they're going to do. Really, really interesting times ahead. Can't wait to see what becomes of all of this. But yeah, so from Retro Remake, Takiudon, the guys behind the MiSTer Pi and the upcoming SuperStationOne, they've done a great job already, and their next gen one is around a 400k logic element FPGA. Sounds interesting, right? One thing since covering the MiSTer FPGA is I found out every system out there has its fans. Doesn't matter how rare, obsolete, niche it is, it has its fans, and the Philips CDI is no exception. What's really cool is in the last week we received an update to the CDI core from the developer Slammy, and this time more video is working where it wasn't working previously. In fact, there you go, you can see it running now. This is where it's running, it's got nice sound playing with it. When I tried it, I was able to get into game and I got killed straight away, and after that I got a black screen. But guys, this is major progress. Slammy even goes to say that everything it's doing now is using about half the resources on the FPGA, so a fully fledged core is definitely very, very possible, but likely it will take some time. If you appreciate this work and you're a die-hard Philips CDI fan, then consider supporting Slammy over on Patreon. You know, developers put a lot of time on this, and some compensation is always nice and appreciated. But the bullet points that they've put out here on the MiSTer FPGA Discord server are FMV improved cropping and alignment, fixed horizontal size of pixels, fixed vertical chroma sampling alignment, removed fetch of pixel data when frame height is reached, and then FMV improved frame pacing, 25 FPS hard-coded right now, presentation time utilized to define start of playback. And guys, we've even got stuff like, here's a video that I did during the week. So I played like Dragon's Lair on it, then I played this game here, Space Ace again. I got in the intro for Space Ace, the sound started and then it kind of went. For Dragon's Lair, the sound was absolutely fine during the whole intro. So I tried this, I started the game, and once I started the game and I lost 1 life, it kind of crashed out from what I recall. I also tried a game called Seventh Guest where I was able to get part of the intro working. So this is really, really interesting. These games do have quite a number of fans. They're like quick time event games where you kind of need to remember the sequences, and if you do them, it looks like you are watching a beautiful cartoon that you're kind of playing, almost like an interactive movie. So well done, Slammy, Mr. FPGA. Love getting all these niche systems on there, and amazing to get these updates. Some improvements have been made to the Taito F2 core by its developer Weka Waka, and he listed some of the fixes that he implemented. So fix missing layers and glitches in Thunder Fox, the game that you're seeing on screen now, as well as that general TC0100 SCN improvements. Then he mentions mix alignment for Metal Black Single PCB and Dead Connection, the Japanese versions of the game. So guys, if you haven't tried out the Taito F2 games, they are fantastic. Try this game out. Thunder, 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 Thunder Fox. This was interesting to see a few days ago. So a popular X account called Pirate Nation, they posted this over here saying Saturn now has 100% perfect hardware emulation. What has historically been one of the absolute hardest platforms to emulate now has completely 100% hardware accurate emulation thanks to the MiSTer FPGA. Now they've screenshotted an article there. I don't think they left a link to it, but the article is from Sega SaturnShiro.com. It's written by Dantrax. Now I had a look at the article. I remember when it came out like a month ago. They didn't really say it in that wording. They just said the MiSTer FPGA core passes all these tests, so more accurate than ever. But it didn't say it was like 100% accurate. I don't remember seeing that in the article. They were just saying that there's a list of checks, and the Sega Saturn called the MiSTer FPGA passes all of those. But what's really interesting is Hatego comes over to celebrate, to congratulate another developer, and just saying this has taken several years of work. Thank you, SRG320. But what was really funny was Sergey Dvodnenko, or better known as SRG320, came on and said that's not entirely true. It's still far from complete accuracy. So it's not completely accurate, but guys, I can tell you the Sega Saturn core on the MiSTer FPGA is one of my favorite cores. I absolutely love it. I haven't had much experience with the original system, so back in the day I only ever really played it in like a video game store. I had one for a while, but I couldn't actually get it working when I had a video game store myself. The MiSTer FPGA is where I've learned about the Saturn, is where I've learned to love the Sega Saturn, and I'm playing and enjoying all these freaking games on there. There's a lot of 2D arcade games that I like that we don't have cores for, and when I play the Saturn versions and then I go and play a software emulated version on something like O.M.A.Hei, I definitely prefer the Saturn versions. That's a great core, but interesting to see the high standard SRG320 holds himself at, and just the humbleness of this developer to say, people might think it's great, but I hold myself to a very, very high standard, and it's still very, very far from accuracy. Can't wait for it to get more accurate, but guys, I'm telling you now, to us common folk, this is an amazing experience to play. The SuperStationOne, guys, this is forming to becoming the ultimate version of the MiSTer FPGA DE10 Nano project. SuperStationOne, it's going to play your optical media via the dock. Taki has shown that it's going to be supporting cartridges as well. And previously, well, let's read the tweet. So Taki here says, I finally populated the last section of console mode. Here's the arcade directory with screenshot support. It makes picking games much easier if you aren't familiar with the titles. And that's really good when you've got a front end and you're unsure what the games are. You can go into genre, you can go in by system like Taki did here for the IRIM M92. Great system, by the way, guys. Try out Gun Force 1 and 2. Also try out stuff like R-Type Leo and Ninja Baseball Batman and In the Hunt. This is a fantastic system with lots and lots of freaking good games on there. But what's really cool about this, well, I have to say, I find the MiSTer menu very refreshing. After years of getting into emulation and setting stuff up, I like the simplicity. However, stuff like the SuperStationOne, the MiSTer Pi, because of its cheaper price point, it brings a lot of new people over to the MiSTer FPGA gaming scene. So naturally, if people are coming over and they're used to emulation, they're used to stuff like Launchbox, or they buy like an Ambernic device or something, and it's got that snazzy front end on there, they can have something similar like that running on their MiSTer FPGA. And I really do like discovering games like this. I've done that on software like emulation front ends. I'm like, oh wow, I found this game, I never knew it existed. And a lot of people will appreciate and like this. The feedback for this from the community has been excellent so far. But having a look at a couple of questions here. So Ratchet Gaming All-Stars here says, is it possible to do some sort of script that gets the cover art for you instead of manually having to create it yourself? And Taki said, yes, that's possible. I mentioned in a video earlier during the week on like my Amanic devices, it gave me an opportunity to log into like a couple of sites. I remember one of them, Screensaver, was it called something like that? Screen Scraper, sorry. And I think I made an account with them, and what I was doing was it was scraping the artwork for the games that I had on the device. So maybe something like that can be implemented. Remains to be seen. Hopefully it can, because you know, Taki and a lot of people in the community are all about streamlining that user experience, right? And a final one here. So someone actually asked Taki, dumb question, what is the boot time from switching on the console to the menu? Taki says maybe 10 seconds. It's probably faster if we auto boot this front end. So if you auto boot it, maybe the time will go down. I think I remember Taki saying around 7 seconds. So you boot it and you launch into it. From what I understand and anything I've seen from a front end, because I have run a different front end myself, it boots up as a core. So the front end is a core in and of itself. So you've got everything showing there, the screenshots, the menu, everything that's indexed, that's part of a core. Now when you pick something, that's a shortcut to launching something else from that original core. So naturally there's another step in there, but the MiSTer FPGA gives you choices. If you already own a MiSTer, all you need to do is take out your SD card, put it in the SuperStationOne, and it will run like a MiSTer. It is a MiSTer. It's going to come packaged with some nice stuff, some nice quality of life improvements. But if you don't want them and you don't want to wait 10 or 7 seconds, bada bing, bada bo, just use it like you do a MiSTer. So the MiSTer MultiSystem 2. So I know a few people personally that have bought this, and I've only heard positive things. They've liked it. But then there was this Reddit post from Nico Fever, which was actually very, very well put together. So it was, I did a dedicated video based on this post. That's how freaking good it is. But I'm not going to go through the whole post. I'll give you TLDR. Yes, they are happy with it. They like what they bought. They went from an analog pocket to this, and yes, they like it. They bought a snack adapter. They're running the N64 controller in there, and yeah, TLDR, they like it. So the customer feedback on the MiSTer MultiSystem 2 seems to be good. And I have to say that when it comes to the MiSTer or the original DE10 Nano alternative boards, yes, we've got QM Tech that have made their board. We've got Takyudon or Retro Remake that have made the MiSTer Pi that significantly brought down the price of the DE10 Nano. And it's almost stopped people from buying it from other vendors that are selling the original DE10 Nano, including like Thoracic themselves, DigiKeys, Mouser, MiSTer Add-ons, anyone else out there, because hey, you know, if something's half price or less, you're gonna go there. It's human nature, myself included. These guys, they haven't brought it quite as low as QM Tech and Retro Remake, but it is still a lot cheaper than the original one when you buy the whole package. So they have added some value to that. At the moment it's pre-orders, so if you do order one, you may be in for a wait for a few months. I know the guys are trying to get them out as soon as possible, but hopefully once all the pre-orders are fulfilled and this is an off-the-shelf item that you can order, it may become even more of a viable option, because you can either buy it from a company abroad where you may be waiting a month or two, depending if it's readily available or ready to pre-order, or if you're like me in the UK and you click on it and you get next day delivery, you might pay like 20% more for that privilege and getting this form factor. Zaparoo Core version 2.6.0 released. Guys, this project has come a long way. For something that just started as an NFC launcher to launch your games on the MiSTer FPGA. After that, you can launch your games on your PC on different Batacera setups. You can launch movies, you can launch songs, you can launch comics, books, whatever the heck you want. This is such an expanded NFC project. It's freaking amazing. I can't keep up with it. I'm personally not much of an NFC guy. I always tell you, right now I'm sitting in a corner of my bedroom and this is where I make my videos. So for me, it's just as easy to do it. But if I had all this stuff in a nice front room, or I had an arcade machine, I'd put an NFC reader. To be honest, that's my dream, to get an NFC reader in an arcade machine that I've got. I just don't have the space for it in my house. You know, I've got to wait for my kids to grow up and move out, and then I'll get that in there and I'll tap all the games I want on there. You know, if I want to watch a movie, the options are there. So Zaparoo is always getting updated. It's a great project. You should definitely check it out. This is something that I'm trying to keep count of during the weekend, and so far I'm keeping count. So I want to tell you guys about the unstable cores, because there's a lot of benefits to dabbling in the world of unstable. And I always say it, when you hear the word unstable nightlies, you think you're going to get something that's going to break your MiSTer. Your MiSTer cannot be broken unless you shoot it with a shotgun or something, but don't shoot your MiSTer with a shotgun. All this stuff here can't break it. And guys, they're called unstable nightlies. Honestly, I run them all the time and they're very, very stable. I'm very, very rarely, like we're talking like a 0.001% chance where I've actually faced an issue. So most of the time you can get access to new features. So the last week, the NES core has received 4 unstable updates, the Super Nintendo or the SNES has received 2, and the Sega Saturn, including the STV, has received 2 unstable updates. So if you want to stay up to date with these cores before features get implemented into the main, so for example with the SNES one you have rumble support, with the Sega Saturn you have some new features. Sorry, can't think of some now. There's probably some on screen if you want to have a look. With the NES, the NES has received some really, really good updates. And let me have a look at this tweet from Pork Shop Express, MiSTer Add-ons, where they say MiSTer FPGA's NES core received an update with improved results on 100th coin incredible test ROM. It's the second most accurate way to play NES outside of real hardware. And you can see the rankings here. The ranking, the max score being 125. So Tri CNES has got 125 out of 125. The MiSTer 121 out of 825, and Messen, a software emulator, 118 out of 125. Now someone did say that even an original NES, somewhere in one of the replies, can't remember if it's down here. Okay, I do remember seeing a reply where someone said, look, even an original NES sometimes scores like around what the MiSTer has scored. So it may just be as accurate as original hardware, because results on original hardware can vary. So guys, if you do want to get involved and you want to get access to the latest cores, right, you need an unstable version of the MiSTer operating system. I've got guides on the channel. If you need me to link your video, just give me a shout in the comments and I'll do that, and you can try out the latest features. The rumble in the jungle for the SNES is fantastic. It's well worth checking out. In this little section of the video, I want to tell you about people that do a lot of work in the background that make the FPGA cores that we play and love, well, just freaking amazing. So Ulf Skutnabber here, also known as Scuttis77, this is someone that does a lot of reverse engineering work. In fact, it was their work that brought us, was it the Twin 16 core, the one that has Gradius 2 on it, an absolutely fantastic core. So they worked in conjunction with Harringay to do a lot of the reverse engineering work. That stuff was then implemented and used in the core. So over here on an X post and on their latest Patreon post, you can support them over on Patreon if you like. It says schematics for Pang IO chip has been finished. Read about it on my Patreon post. Now, without me going into it, it's a good read if you want to find out about the nitty gritty, the background stuff that happens to make the stuff work. We've got a beautiful front end where we're playing the games, we're enjoying them, but there's a lot of reverse engineering work that takes place in the background. Scuttis is one of the individuals that does that work and makes it possible. So even after a core is released, some of the other stuff is reverse engineered and it can be revisited and made even more freaking accurate. So Ulf Skutnabber, Scuttis, thank you so much for everything that you do. You are truly appreciated. Just like Scuttis77 Vertic, they do a lot of reverse engineering work, and their work specifically contributes to cores being made and, well, cores coming out. As well as that, their work also makes improvements to existing cores. And this time here, they're talking about the Konami 054539, and just doing a quick Google search and see what games actually use that chip. And well, it's Salamander 2, Sexy Parodius, and X-Men. Harringay then chips in and says most wanted DSP. Having a look at this one here, Leo here says a FPGA core of this would be incredible for making chiptune replayer for the music that runs on this chip. And Vertex says that's in the works. So if you're a chiptune musician, then you might be getting excited on this. And finally, Boogerman chips in and says, I've got a working VGM player with full firmware on the Pico RV32 if you want. Just need to add K054539 commands and bus pin mapping, since the JT51 is already hooked up. Testing X-Men video game music would be straightforward. So again, all this exciting stuff that happens in the background that makes existing cores that we are enjoying at the moment and the potential of future cores a possibility. So thank you, Vertic, for the work that you do. We appreciate you, dude. Yo, the Game Bub. Guys, I'm excited about this and I have backed this, and that's thanks to you guys that support me over on Patreon. But the project is 89% funded. I'm so excited about this. 12 days to go, and I really do hope we hit that 100% mark. If you want to get in on this, I think it's a great project. That's why I have backed it. But guys, it runs Game Boy, Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance out of the box. But it's completely open source. You can bet your bottom dollar, you can't quote me on this, but guys, people are going to port calls over to this. I can just feel it. It's open source. What would stop people from bringing calls over to this? So guys, this looks really interesting. You can get a dock with it as well, so you can connect it to a TV. Really excited about this. I have an interview with well, the maker and the developer. It's one guy that is behind this, right? So if you want to check that out, he answers a lot of questions. I ask a lot of questions, and you guys in chat ask questions about this, and he answers them. So you can make up your own mind if you want to back this up. Naturally, I want this to succeed, so I'm telling everyone to back it because I really want this idea to come to life. But what also, as well as that, they put out an update, the 5th update since putting the project on Crowd Supply, and it's just a new firmware update tool. So updating the firmware is something that's been made simple. I think you just literally connect it to a PC, boom, upload the firmware. It's very easy. But yeah, it's nice to get updates on this. Have a look at the project page and have a look if you want to back this up yourself. So if you see down here, you've got different options as to what you can get. There's a campaign exclusive color that's $50 more, or the normal one. I'm a cheapskate, so I ordered the normal one. But yeah, really interesting stuff, man. Liking the Game Bub, and hopefully it'll come to life. And yeah, we're nearly there, guys. 89% of the way through. So the new Apollo A6000, this is something that was brought to my attention a few days ago over on my Discord. Thanks Grumpy Old Gamer UK, or GOG GOG Dave, for bringing this to my attention. When I had a look at it, there was only one in stock, so I'm not exactly sure how many were being sold in this campaign. It was one when I saw it a few days ago. That was what was left, and I was like, wow, that's not a lot. But maybe they had 5, maybe they had 10, maybe they had 100, but they've sold out of the amount they wanted to sell. I just wanted to put this out there in case someone is interested. Now, it was quite expensive. It was like €1,000 for the basic bundle. When you added the extra accessories that were available, it came up to roughly $1,200. But as they describe it, a new chapter in computing history begins today with the launch of the most powerful Amiga 68K compatible ever created. And down here, we've combined the soul of the original Amiga with cutting-edge V4 AC68080 performance. So A6000 offers unmatched speeds, stunning graphics, and modern connectivity, all while preserving the iconic simplicity and spirit that made the Amiga a household name. Now, it's sold out. I don't know if it's going to come back in stock or whatever it is, but I just thought I'd mention it out there because it is an FPGA device that is an FPGA Ultimate Amiga, right? Would that be the right way of describing it? Let me know your kind of thoughts on this, and if anyone knows what the number was when they started, I'll be really interested in that, just to see how many they're sold. So this dropped last Saturday, and I remember when I found out about this, I was in bed and I was like, well, I'm off tomorrow, let me stay up late. I got out of bed to make this video. So this is Super Mario Bros. 1. I'm really sorry, in this video I called it Super Mario World a few times, but that is my favorite Mario game and it just rolls off my tongue whenever I say the word Super Mario. So Super Mario Bros. 1 Remastered. Guys, you can play this any way you see fit. So I'm playing it here in, like, is it 21:9, like ultra widescreen aspect ratio, and it's really cool. You've got different characters in here. You've even got like a level maker in here where you can pretty much design your own Mario Brothers game to your heart's content. It's very easy to use, and if you watch the video that I put out, there's a tutorial in there that shows you how to get it up and running. But honestly, guys, you don't need to watch it. All you need is the USA ROM. You drag and drop it when you download the files that have been made available over on GitHub. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You run the executable. It's available for Linux and Windows. I tried it on Windows, and once you run it, guys, it just runs. It just works. And here I was playing it on my ultra widescreen monitor, and it just looks freaking good, man. And yeah, as you can see, I suck at Mario Brothers. So we know the SNES, the Super Nintendo, recently got Rumble support via like a controller that limited run games made for the upcoming Doom game, but they made that tech available and people have hacked other games, stuff like Metroid, stuff like F-Zero, Castlevania, Fox. They now have Rumble in the jungle. It rhymes so well. So Kanto12, one of the ROM hackers, he's now added Rumble compatibilities to Super Mario World. It's currently only available to his Patreon supporters. So if you do want it and you want it quickly, consider supporting him over on Patreon. If not, then, and you can wait a little bit, then it will come out in the wild for everyone to enjoy. But Super Mario World is one of the best games out there. I can only imagine it feeling like pretty awesome with Rumble. What I don't understand though is, what the heck is up with that title screen, Kando? What did you do? Just scribble that on your phone or something? And you've spelled Rumble wrong. Where's the E? Anyway, spelling aside, Kando's work is top notch, guys. Really looking forward to, when I get a bit of time, to try the Rumble version of Super Mario World. By the way, guys, on the MiSTer FPGA, if you run the unstable versions of the core, they have Rumble support, or there is a specific version where Rumble is enabled, and it feels really good. You don't need the specific controller from limited run games. That one works on original hardware. It works on the MiSTer via Snack. You can run this with any controller that has Rumble support. I've tried it with various 8-bit Dowdle controllers and it works really freaking well. We've got Rumble for SNES. What a year 2025 is. Rounding up this week's video, guys, with this news. So BillyTime Games, another ROM hacker that I so love, and it's because of their sensible approach that they take towards ROM hacks that they implement. It comes with lots and lots of quality of life improvements. They've added a lot of good stuff like Revenge of Shinobi, where in the original Mega Drive version it always bugged me where you could only double jump from the apex of your jump. BillyTime Games fixed it where you can jump at any time as long as you're ascending. As well as that, there's a lot of quality of life improvements that they for specifically games that were so freaking difficult to have like a double damage or half difficulty kind of hack available. So the Super Star Wars games, right? So what they actually did here is they released 8 simultaneous ROM hacks over on ROM Hack Plaza, the website, right? And there's some really good ones in there, including these games here, which are the Super Star Wars games, the trilogy, known to be very difficult. But let's go through the 8 games that BillyTime Games have actually released, or the ROM hacks they've released. So Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, 2 times damage, right? So if you found that difficult, it's not a game I'm familiar with, it will become a bit easier. Then VR Fighter versus Taken 2 mod kit. So that's a ROM hack that kind of, well, it's the ROM hack that kind of like Tekken and VR Fighter. It's a bootleg game. It's kind of interesting. Then Garfield Caught in the Act High Jump, so you can jump higher in this. Then we've got Crackdown, 2 times damage. I imagine that will be Home Alone, 2 times items, so double the items on that. But these ones here, Super Star Wars Redux SNES ROM hack, there's a lot of stuff that is put in here. I'll go for the first one, but a lot of the changes are very similar with some differences in there, including like a better arrangement of the level. So reduced weapon penalty on death, infinite lives when playing on easy difficulty, nerf spawns on Tatooine levels, less Jawas on land speeder stages, reduced health for Kahla boss monster, 2 times damage, reduced TIE fighters and towers in Death Star, reduced length in Death Star Trench Run, continues increase from 3 to 99, skip sandcrawler stages, which is optional, and health regen, which is optional. So guys, if this game destroyed you as a kid, because let's face it, a lot of us are Star Wars fans, we see a Star Wars game coming out for the Super Nintendo, we beg our parents, man, we wash them cars, do the laundry, mow the lawn, whatever it is to get this game, and then we get this game, we love it, but after like getting past like the first level, it just freaking destroyed us, man. It destroyed us, and we couldn't finish the game when we wanted to. Well, this is where BillyTime makes everything better, does the same for Empire Strikes Back, and even like a streamlined level order that you can kind of see here, as well as that same thing for Super Return of the Jedi. So BillyTime Games, absolutely love it. Keep up the great work, and try not to break the internet again. Okay guys, that wraps it up for this week. I really do hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then a subscription and a like is super duper appreciated. Be freaking awesome to one another. This is Pixel Cherry Ninja out.